If you're feeling stuck in a rut or unmotivated, or you really just want to change your life, you don't need to do these drastic, extreme 1-week challenges or 30-day diets. It comes down to the little things done over a long period of time that will drastically change your life. And these are 6 tiny habits that can change your life forever. Use the 90-10 rule. So you've probably heard of the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. That kind of applies to most things in life. When it comes to clothes, most people wear 20% of their closet 80% of the time. So it really goes across most things in life. But I like to make this a little bit more extreme, especially when it comes to my work or spending time with my family. What are the 10% of things, the 10% of the time that leads to 90% of the happiness? For me, that's usually traveling or spending time with my family. When it comes to work, it's actually shooting and making a video. But then I also use it another way, where if something isn't a 90 or above, I try not to do it. So I try not to buy anything that's not my absolute favorite. So it's this whole idea of less but better. And doing this allows me to buy less stuff that is higher quality, and in return, I don't go through as much stuff. So I have less things, but everything I own is like my favorite thing that I wear all the time, I use all the time, instead of going for cheaper stuff that I'm just gonna cycle through a lot faster. Never leave dirty dishes in the sink. Now this might seem a little bit weird, but this is one of those small habits that kind of changed a lot of things for me and my productivity throughout the entire day. Especially at night, it's really easy to leave dishes in the sink to soak. But when I do that, I generally end up leaving pots and pans as well, and then maybe I'll leave my hoodie out, and maybe my coffee cup, and my shoes might not have made it to where they're supposed to be. So I try to make a rule where after each meal, and especially at the end of the night, I am not allowed to leave dishes in the sink. And this has been kind of like a lead habit for me, where if I just have that one rule, that tiny little thing that I do, I end up cleaning up a lot of the rest of the house as well. And that in turn helps me in my morning routine. When I come down, everything is clean, the counters are clear. I can focus on doing things that are important, taking my quiet time, reading, setting up my day without having to worry about getting the sink and the kitchen and the living room back to just livable. I can focus on the things that are really important to me, and I end up actually being a lot more productive throughout the day. Build systems. So while most people focus on goals and kind of the end result, I've found that focusing on building systems and following through with those systems allows me to make a little bit of progress every single day without actually getting worn out. And that leads to this compound effect of doing little things for an extremely long period of time, where the amount of work that you put in continues to stay the same, but the results are drastically different. And that comes from actually taking time, sitting down, and focusing on building a system so that your entire workflow will go a lot more efficiently. You'll save a lot more time and money. And I've actually been doing this recently with the sponsor of today's video, Milanote. This is pretty much like a tool for organizing your creative projects, and I've been using this recently on some of the more complex videos that I have going on, where it's not just me walking around my house with a camera, but I actually have to sit down and actually organize things to make sure it doesn't come out terribly. When you think about like a big creative project, maybe you have a photo shoot, or you're doing some type of graphic design project, or for me, I'm gonna use YouTube videos. This is pretty much a way to keep a bird's eye view of exactly what is going on, so you can stay organized and not be chaotic. I'm working on a short film right now that I'm like halfway through writing, and I've been using Milanote in order to work on this, designing everything. I've got my script, I've got a storyboard, I have a mood board. It's kind of like when you think of somebody's creative wall, where they have a bunch of pictures and postcards and whatever is up on that wall, except it's infinite and it's all on your computer, so you can actually organize it a lot easier. Honestly, it is super easy to use. It's all kind of drag and drop. You can just pull a to-do list right here. You can add more things. I use this for some of my like daily to-dos or weekly to-dos. You just add a few more there. So right now I'm working on the script still. We come in here, I have my mood board, where you can just take some of these pictures, and if you want to add more, like super easily, it's all very easy to do. They have a bunch of different templates you can use for pretty much anything under the sun. So let's say I wanted this new board. They have like plan a project. You could do some type of mood board, which is one of the ones that I did. Do a creative brief, a weekly planner. Look how organized that is. You have a bunch more templates for writing, planning a novel. I was actually writing a novel and I spilled water on my laptop and I lost the entire thing because it wasn't backed up. So I should have done it here. Game design, graphic design, interior design, logo design, management and strategy, marketing. Right now I'm using the pre-production one, which is kind of like what you saw on mine. And the best part is Milanote is available for free with no time limit. You can use the link down in the description to get started on your creative project right now, today. Eat for fuel. Most Americans spend way too little time thinking about what they're putting into their bodies and how that in turn affects their bodies. Hence why we have an insane amount of health problems and then an insane amount of drug problems, because we're trying to deal with those health problems by giving them drugs instead of actually dealing with the root cause, which for a lot of people is their diet and exercise routines. So a few years ago, I really started to look at my diet and what I was putting in my body and how that was making me feel. And when I wasn't feeling good, I would go through and I would eliminate one thing out of my diet at a time to see how it affected things. Or sometimes when I was going really extreme, I would cut down to like a few basics and then I would add one in at a time for these different foods. Maybe it's gluten, dairy, grains, meat, whatever it is, and see how I felt after I added that thing back in. And I found out that when I have gluten, it hurts my stomach for like a few days. If I have a lot, I get sick. If I have dairy, it hurts my stomach, I get inflammation, my face breaks out a lot. If I have processed sugar, I get tired all the time, my face breaks out, I get acne, my joints hurt more, I don't sleep as well. So I've pretty much cut those out almost completely. I've also cut out pretty much anything from a box for the most part and tried to have a lot of whole foods. And it's just this little habit of listening to your body and seeing how it feels. And if you feel crappy, and then try to reverse engineer what you ate and why it made you feel crappy. And while for most people, they don't really care enough about this, for me, I have felt an amazing times better. I've slept a lot better. I have more energy and mental clarity every day simply by paying attention to what I eat and how that makes me feel. If you're enjoying this video and getting some value, it would mean a ton to me if you would drop a like and subscribe. Practice saying no at least once a week. I have really gotten into this habit over the past couple years of looking at everything and trying to say no to as many things as possible so that I can say yes to the things that really matter and really make a big impact in my life. But this is really hard to do, especially as a bit of a people pleaser myself. It can be really hard when somebody asks you to do something or invites you to something or a new project or opportunity comes up to just say yes out of instinct, because we're like kind of want to please people as an instinctual thing, at least a lot of us do. So take some time, maybe over the next month, and at least minimum of once a week, try to say no to something, anything, doesn't matter what it is, just getting into that practice of saying no. When your boss asks you to work overtime or come in on a weekend or whatever it is, or to work on an extra project, as long as it won't like jeopardize your job, practicing saying no can give you a lot more freedom and control over your life. Or when somebody invites you to an event that you don't want to go to, or to go out to dinner or drinks that you can't really afford right now, or it's just going to be like a big waste of time, then it's okay to say no. Sign up for something scary. Looking back, there were like a few 5-minute decisions that completely changed my life. And it's this little habit of when you feel tension, when you feel a little bit worried and scared to do something, or you just continually put it off for a while, even though you know it's something that's important for you, getting in that habit of actually committing to that thing will drastically change your life. For me, recently, I signed up for this YouTube seminar that I've been putting off for months, even though I went last year, and I learned a bunch of new things. I made some really good friends. It was a great experience, but I know that if I go, I'm gonna have to talk to people, and that's scary, and I don't like talking to people because I'm like wicked introverted. But I signed up, I got flights, I'm going out to LA, and now I don't really have a choice. So it's like this idea of you put your money where your mouth is and you commit to something, you like really can't back out. And you can use that to sign up to a course or a book or classes. Meredith signed up for some classes so that she could make sure she's getting exercise and learning something that she's wanted to do for a really long time, which is aerial. Could be fitness classes, cooking classes, seminars, pretty much anything under the sun. When you actually have money behind the decision and a time constraint and a time commitment on when it's going to be, you're much more likely to progress in your life just by taking like 5 minutes and actually following through on that thing that you've been thinking of doing for a long time. And if you've been thinking about subscribing to this channel for a long time, now would be a good time to do it. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like the 10 rules of minimalism video right over here. So click on that if you want to, and I'll see you next week.